Hey everyone, what's going on? I wanted to talk a little bit about when you start following God and start following the new covenant, and start trying to live by its principles, the surrender, the laying down your life for your beliefs, the surrender to God, surrendering the ego, trying to live unconditionally towards all people, trying to live with faith and gratitude. And I said yesterday that, what will help you with a lot of your cravings is, your consciousness separate from your body. But the most that will help you with your cravings, the most is the surrender. The surrender is because it's the ego that gives you all your cravings and all your always that seeking, always that never satisfied, always wanting, always needing, always craving something intellectually and physically, mentally, and spiritually. You're always needing. You're always wanting. And so it's what the surrender does is surrenders all that control, that need for all that becomes surrendered. And that's when you can breathe, when you have peace, when you give in to the will of the Lord. And that's the main thing that will help you in your cravings, is that surrender. And it's lowly in the spirit. So you're not there's a lot of emphasis in today's society about happiness. And it's not always like a joyous state of being. It's not like blissful. It's not. But it is peaceful. You'll find peace. Peace is the first thing. And your ego will fight you, because your ego is saying, no, we need this. And then your will, you have your both kind of wills, but your spirit inside, your will, it's your decisions, right? You can follow the path of the ego, or you can follow the path of God. And surrendering to God is the path that we're talking about. And so when you do that, first it's the peace. And so happiness becomes like an enemy kind of at first, because you say, wait, I'm not blissful and joyous. And then what'll happen is the ego will trick you and say, hey, look, man, let's be happy. Let's go celebrate, because you found peace in your heart. And so you go out and you pig out, or you whatever. You give in to that again. And then it's just like a cycle, So just remain there. It's fine to remain there. And then what will happen is that peace will turn into bliss. Eventually, without any external stimulus. And it'll turn into love. Because first it's just peace within, it's surrender, but it's not really love. It's just like surrendering. It's like giving up. It's giving in to the will of the Lord. And then once you're there, then you can experience the love and the blessings towards others. And because first you have to cure yourself. You have to find the spirit within. And then you can give of it. So that happens a lot. Like, people try and love without that surrender, and it becomes like a forceful action. It's not a peaceful action. It becomes forceful, and it becomes conditional. Not unconditional love, but conditional. Because you're in a state of conditionality. You're not in a state of unconditionality. Because when you surrender, you're in a state of unconditionality where you don't need of anything external. You don't need of anything. You just have that peace. But if you don't have that and you try to love, since you don't have that peace, and through love, though, you do get segments of peace. Like, you get flashes of it, and you get flashes of goodness, because love is what you do to others, you give to yourself, right? That's the law of God and of nature. What you do to yourself, you do to others, and what you do to others, you do to yourself. That's the law of justice, the law of nature. And so when people try and love without the surrendering is when there's a lot of problems, because it's conditional. And so that's when all these rules are created, and I love you, but I expect this back in return, and it becomes a power game instead of a unconditional love. And it ends up hurting the people who love and the people receiving the love too. But it's all in good intention. It's just that they don't have the knowledge yet of the surrender and of the unconditionality in order to make that love purer and less harmful for themselves and for others. And so the first step is the surrender. That's why it's the first line of the new covenant, to lay down your life for your beliefs. We will not fight evil with evil, we will not shed blood for blood. But the first is that to lay down your life for your beliefs. And in giving your life, you gain your life. And so, once you move into this world, because you definitely move into a different world, like a different dimension. At first, everything's just the same, but as time goes on, you just get deeper and deeper into it, and then you start seeing things in the external, like things just start happening that are like weird. Like, a lot of people call them serendipities, or a lot of people call them just things that happen that are weird. All of a sudden you have a job to do at this place, and all of a sudden this person shows up, or you go to the supermarket and this other person shows up, or just weird coincidences that help you along your way, and they start happening more and more frequently. And so you sense you're just in this different, you sense that the Creator is like pulling you towards Him. And you can't sense that when you're not in this, you can't sense it when you're living within the flesh. Like, if you're not in the state of surrender and you're just living within the ego, you can't, it's not, you're not there. Like, things don't happen. And you get stuck in ruts, and but once you start moving into the Spirit deeper and deeper, then these things just start happening more and more frequently. And it's a beautiful thing, because you can sense the Lord in everyday events. that have nothing to do with anything. Just everyday, non-random events. You sense the presence of the Lord pulling you into his loving arms or her loving arms or whatever. Its loving arms. And yeah, so just have faith. One of the 3 pillars is the faith. Just have faith. And just try and follow the 3 steps, the surrender first, which is the hardest, by the way, because that's where all the rebellion comes in. No, I'm not going to surrender. I'm not going to, the giving of yourself, like just the letting go. The ego is going to fight you to the end, and that's the hardest part, I think. And once you kind of get through that, you won't entirely get through it. It's always there, but the percentages just drops and drops. And then you can be years just without it, years and years. But as you start getting into it and you start acting upon the Spirit and start doing things that lead you closer and closer to the Spirit, you start getting into just weird places and weird things start happening that increase your faith, and then it starts to become a positive cycle, positive reinforcement, right? It's just everything starts getting better and better and better. And your relationships start getting deeper and deeper with people, and just everything starts changing. So have faith in God. Have faith in God. Surrender and love unconditionally. That's what we were meant to do here on earth. That's our purpose. And yeah, we're going to have to bring this world we're going to have to bring the kingdom to afloat. We're going to have to do it. It's not going to fall from the sky. We're going to have to do it one person at a time, one soul at a time, one person at a time. So just let's do it, baby. And I will see you all at a later date.